The biggest reason that life is hard is because people get jealous. And this goes back centuries over human history. So whether it's survival or land or food, someone always gets jealous or insecure about what someone else has. And on the survival aspect, it makes sense. If you're just a nomad thousands of years ago, food is scarce. And so you have to be cautious about when you have opportunities to get food and when your next meal is. So when you're running into other animals and other humans, the motives of people are always questioned about whether that person's on your team, whether they're against you, on the hunt for food. But then this turns into from the nomadic, it turns into, oh, we can take these seeds from fruits and vegetables and plant them. So now we can kind of stay in one place. Now that we're in one place, we can be a little bit more comfortable. So maybe the river that we just used for water, now we take a swim once in a while because we've already planted seeds. We have food growing constantly, so we can stay in one place. So instead of just being nomadic and just having to survive constantly, now we have luxury. Now we have pleasure. And now that we're here with all this downtime, that's when culture comes in. That's when religion comes in. That's when society starts to build from there. But it's still rooted within you to look after your own survival. And so over the years, then these factions of people form, and then now it's like, oh, this group has a different skin color, or they have land that we don't have, or they come across a group and they don't know the intentions of that group, and so it's just survival mode. So it's like my group versus your group, and so it's caused a lot of wars and chaos and violence over human history. And now we're in a place where society's built to a point where it's a little bit more conscious, and we're not just surviving day to day in the elements, but the core emotion of jealousy and of envy is still there. The other person has something that you don't. So this can take the form now of this person makes more money, this person has a certain circumstance that I don't have. So that's still rooted within. Like you even see kids playing, and like someone cheats or cuts a kid in line, and a kid feels a certain way about that. And this kid got a different grade on a test, and he got a different lunch that his mom packed, or he has a different just toy that I don't have. And so this is rooted within our DNA, and this is why life is very hard for the most part. I mean, it's because of jealousy, it's because of envy, it's because of the feeling that you're lacking something, scarcity mindset, the fear that you're not going to have enough or you're not going to be enough. And so this is what happens, is we make it harder on ourselves and each other, because someone always like wants what the other person has, or they don't understand the other person, and we're always seeking balance. So jealousy makes sense up to a certain point. We have to live. We don't want to be taken advantage of. We don't want to be screwed over. So we're always looking for balance. So if someone owns a corporation and there's one guy at the top making billions, and he has 1,000 workers that are making minimum wage, the people making minimum wage might rise up. There might be a revolt. There might be some chaos within that company, because one guy's making billions and the 1,000 of us are making minimum wage. Yeah, you're going to have problems eventually. So that's just human nature, and that's just how it's going to balance out when we're always seeking like a 50-50 compromise. And not even just a job now, but even centuries ago, there's always still that balance. Like this king rules the land, and then we're all peasants. And so why do we have to be peasants forever? Why is that family the king, or like why is that family in charge? And so depending on what laws they put in place and how they're structuring society, fights happen, revolts happen, and wars, more violence, more chaos, because it comes back to this balancing act. The person at the top wants to keep their position, the person at the bottom wants to come up. And so how do we meet in the middle? And that's just really what this comes down to. We make it harder on ourselves when we don't have to. We make it harder on ourselves because someone's always jealous of what the other person has. And it makes sense to a certain degree. You want to live a good life. You don't want to live a life just constantly in a lower position. You want to improve. I assume you want to be better at 30 than you were at 20. You want to be better at 40 than you were at 30. You want like a progression of your life so that you're motivated towards something, so that you have something going on, a goal, a spiritual mission, whatever that is to you, you want to improve. So as you're going through life, your actions are impacting other people, and other people are making evaluations on that. So we're all kind of impacting each other, and we all have this way of balancing it out. And it's like, what's the correct way to balance it? The landlord wants to rent out his houses for as much money as possible. The tenant wants to pay as least money as possible. And sometimes you get the landlord that it's all about money. So maybe he has a good tenant for 5 years and the tenant's just a little short on rent 1 month. Most landlords are like, hey, you pay it back when you can. You know, you've already been here a couple years. That's just like a reasonable landlord. And then there's the one that's just like, nope, you didn't pay. I could just kick you out and get someone who's gonna pay. And it goes back to this balancing act. Like, he wants to keep his position as the top person who owns all this property. This person is just trying to come up in the world, and maybe they've been a good tenant for 5 years, but then at their work, at their job, the boss lays them off because their company is just trying to save money, so they just expend one of their employees. So there's all this stuff going on with everyone trying to make it to the top of their potential, but then how are they affecting other people in the course of doing that? So the more conscious that we are about it, the better off that we're going to be going forward in the future. Is understanding the 50-50, like the light and the dark side, if you will, and understanding what everybody is really trying to do. Everybody's trying to improve. Everybody is self-serving to a degree. Everybody's looking after their own bills, their own rent, their own paycheck, because no one else is going to do it for you. So it's how we're recognizing this jealousy. What's really important. And these answers come to you at different ages, different times, and different people realize things at different moments. But say you're making like $40,000 a year, yeah, you still want to be motivated. You don't want to just be locked into what you think your current stance is, but you're doing fine at $40,000 a year in terms of your food and your shelter. So how far are you taking the jealousy of, well, this guy makes 80, well, that guy makes 100, well, that guy makes 1 million, well, this is a pro athlete, well, he owns a business, well, this person has a YouTube channel, well, this person's a model, this person has a college education, this person had richer parents that paid for that college and I have to take out loans, right? This person's taller than me, this person lifts more weight in the gym, this person's better at this sport than I am, this person's getting this opportunity in a way that I'm not getting. And so these little seeds of jealousy are always there, and it's how you cope with it at a certain age, and how you're dealing with that is how you're going to impact the people around you. Because at the end of the day, when you're getting together with a group of people, the common sense of that group is we're trying to get by to the next day. Regardless of anyone's intentions or motives or purpose in that moment, you could just be walking on the street, go to the beach or something, just in a public place with a crowd where nobody knows each other. We're just trying to get by to the next day. So you got to really keep in check the jealousy stuff. Oh, well, he makes 10,000 more than me. Or like, he has a 2-story house, I'm in an apartment. Which you're gonna have feelings on whatever, whether it's the car you drive or the way someone looks, the opportunities they have, their follower count, like what you think they're getting attention for that you're not getting attention for. So all these thoughts are gonna come into a person's head while they're seeking balance in the world. But the best way that we can make life a little easier for everyone is to recognize the jealousy aspect and to recognize the balance that we're all looking for. Everybody wants to be, on the top or improving or whatever that means to them, but that's going to cause problems, because if one guy is at the top that owns a company, makes billions, everyone else making minimum wage, there's going to be problems. Stuff's going to happen. People are going to seek that balance, and it goes all the way back to the beginning of time, whether it's just downright survival or resources or land, or just like, I don't understand this person's skin color or their culture or their religion, and so fights happen, wars happen, misunderstandings, and stuff that we don't really need as a society. And it's really just understanding these emotions. It's really being introspective enough to see how you're viewing things and what you want out of life. So for me, I have a place to live right now. I like my job. I have food. I'm not struggling for food. And so yes, I don't want to just stay in this same spot forever. I want to grow, not just like financially, but I mean like spiritually, mentally, physically, my purpose in the world. I do want to grow year by year. I'm 26 now. I want to be better at 27. And I want to be even better at 28, and so forth from there. So while I do have other things that I want to do and other goals I want to hit, and even though you may feel that certain things aren't manifesting in the time that you would like, or people aren't seeing your vision, or people are underestimating you, or people aren't seeing your potential, or they don't believe in you. So yes, those thoughts might come up in your head, but at the same time, it's about taking a moment to reflect. Okay, this person might not believe in me. They might not see my talents or my skills or my potential, or what I think my potential is, but it's okay. I might not be exactly where I want to be yet, or the dots haven't aligned in the way that I foresaw yet, but the main point is I have food, I have a place to live, I'm enjoying what I do for work, and that's really all that matters. So even something basic like if you start a YouTube channel, everyone always wants to know, how do I grow my channel? But it's like, it's not really about growing your channel. It's not about subscribers. It's not about likes. It's not about that. It's not like you think that like you have like low subscribers, or you think you have like this other person has more. How come they're doing a prank video and getting millions of views when that doesn't help anybody? But I'm doing this and I'm not getting, like, people get these thoughts in their heads. But I like those prank videos. They're funny. And say I make a YouTube video now that someone else learns from, gets inspired by, and then that causes them to make their own YouTube channel, and their YouTube channel passes me up quicker than what I was able to build to a certain point. Like, they could hear something from my channel and take whatever they do from it, and then they start their own, and maybe they get 10,000 subscribers in like a year. And good, we're supposed to collectively grow. It's not a competition. It's not, we're past the caveman days of just needing to find the next fruit or vegetable to just live. I mean, we have somewhat security. We're stationary. So it's about what you're doing in terms of creating more leaders. It's not just about your growth. It's about who you're inspiring and other leaders that you're creating. Because the subscribers, the money, whatever, all of that's just gonna come from you doing stuff that other people take note of. So you can't get into the game of, well, this person has more and I feel that my content's worth more. I feel like, well, they're a few years younger than me and they're doing more. Like, you can't get into all that. The jealousy thing, the envy, you really gotta understand what's important in life. Food, shelter, health, survival, liking what you do for a career. It's get down to some basics where you can look at yourself and then look at other people's situations and say, okay, well, here's how my life is, but could be a lot worse. And I know that's easier said than done, and I'm not saying that nobody ever has the right to voice frustration, because I think no matter where you fall in line, the poor person and the rich person can be frustrated. The black person and the white person can be frustrated. The man and the woman can be frustrated about something. The person who comes from like a certain demographic can feel a certain way, and a person from a different demographic can also voice how they're feeling, because it's not like, oh, well, you have money, you have no right to ever have a bad day or have a bad life. Like, that's just, some people get into that mentality, and then that causes more confusion in social settings. Like, well, this already annoys me because this guy has money and I don't have any money, so who's to say that he has a bad day? Like, easy for him to say, but again, it goes back to the jealousy. We just need to all do a better job at understanding that balance, understanding each other, and seeing what we need to do to kind of get a 50-50 compromise in all aspects of life.